In the vibrant village of Kamar, everyone knew Kofi. He was not just a hunter, he was the best hunter in the land. Kofi could track animals through the thickest bushes and bring home the largest game. The villagers admired him and often cheered when he returned from his hunts, his arms full of meat and trophies. Kofi loved his life in Kamar. He provided food for his family and shared his catches with friends. Everyone in the village respected him, and he felt proud. One sunny morning, Kofi set out for a hunt. The air was fresh, and the birds sang sweetly. He wandered deeper into the forest, seeking the fiercest animals. The forest was thick with trees and shadows. Suddenly, he stumbled upon a path he had never seen before. Curiosity tugged at him, and he followed the winding trail. As he walked, he felt a strange tingling sensation, as if the forest was watching him. But Kofi, brave and proud, ignored the feeling and pressed on, eager to catch something magnificent. Kofi ventured into a part of the forest known to the villagers as the Forbidden Forest. The elders always warned that this place was home to forest spirits who protected the animals and the trees. Kofi felt a mix of excitement and fear. He wanted to prove he could catch the biggest animal ever. After walking for a while, he spotted a majestic lion resting in the sun. Its golden fur glimmered, and its eyes sparkled like jewels. Kofi's heart raced. Ignoring the warnings echoing in his mind, Kofi crept closer, his heart pounding with excitement. He prepared his bow, the weight of his ambition heavy on his shoulders. In a swift motion, he shot the arrow, striking the lion. It let out a roar that echoed through the trees. Kofi stood frozen, filled with triumph but also a hint of dread. He had done it. He had captured a sacred lion, but in his victory, he had broken a sacred rule. Little did he know, he had just signed a debt with the unseen spirits of the forest. That night, Kofi returned home with the lion's body, feeling proud but uneasy. As he laid the lion at the village center, the villagers cheered. But as he looked at their faces, he noticed a strange look in their eyes. Was it fear? Or concern? Kofi shook off the feeling and celebrated with his family and friends. He felt like a hero. But as night fell, strange things began to happen. Kofi's younger sister, Nia, woke up screaming from her dreams. The lion! The lion, she cried. Kofi tried to comfort her, telling her it was just a dream. But as he tucked her back in bed, he felt a chill in the air. That night, Kofi dreamed of shadowy figures dancing in the moonlight, their eyes glowing like the stars. They whispered his name, warning him that a debt had been made. He woke up in a sweat, heart racing. Kofi could not shake off the feeling that something was very wrong. The next day, Kofi went out to hunt again, but he felt different. The forest seemed darker, the sounds of animals quieter. As he walked, he spotted a group of monkeys chattering in the trees. Their eyes watched him closely, and he felt a knot in his stomach. Suddenly, they fell silent, and Kofi heard a low rumble in the distance. It sounded like thunder, but the sky was clear. Startled, Kofi hurried back to the village. That night, he had another nightmare. The spirits appeared again, their faces blurred but their voices clear. You have disturbed the peace of the forest. The lion was sacred. You must repay your debt, or your family will suffer. Kofi woke up screaming, but no one heard him. He felt all alone, burdened by fear and guilt. Kofi knew he had to find a way to make things right, but how? Kofi decided to visit the village elder, Mama Asha, who was known for her wisdom. She lived at the edge of Kamar, surrounded by herbs and charms. As Kofi approached her hut, he felt nervous. What if she blamed him for what happened? When he reached her, he explained everything, from the hunt to the strange dreams. Mama Asha listened carefully, her eyes narrowing with concern. You have angered the forest spirits, she said. You must make a sacrifice to restore balance. The forest will not let you go easily. Kofi's heart sank. A sacrifice. What did that mean? You must find a way to appease them, she continued. Perhaps an offering of the land or a promise to protect the forest. Kofi nodded, determination growing inside him. He would do whatever it took to protect his family. With a heavy heart, Kofi prepared for a dangerous journey into the forbidden forest once more. He knew he had to find a way to repay the spirits, but the thought of facing them again terrified him. As he gathered his supplies, he felt the weight of his responsibility. Nia watched him, her eyes filled with worry. "Where are you going, Kofi?" she asked, her small hands trembling. "I'm going to fix my mistake, Nia," Kofi replied gently. "I'll be back soon." He kissed her forehead and promised her everything would be fine. With that, he stepped into the forest, feeling the air grow colder as he walked deeper into the shadows. The trees towered over him, and the whispers of the spirits filled the air. Kofi's heart raced as he pushed forward, determined to find a way to repay his debt before it was too late. As Kofi ventured deeper into the forest, he felt an eerie stillness surrounding him. The trees grew thicker, and the light dimmed, making it hard to see. Suddenly, he stumbled upon a clearing, a beautiful place filled with glowing flowers and shimmering water. It looked magical, unlike anything he had seen before. Kofi realized he had entered the realm of the forest spirits. But as he took a step forward, the ground shook beneath him, and the flowers wilted. The spirits emerged, their forms flickering like flames. Kofi's heart raced with fear, but he stood tall. "I have come to repay my debt," he shouted, his voice echoing in the clearing. The spirits watched him with piercing eyes, their expressions unreadable. Kofi felt small and vulnerable, but he knew he had to face them if he wanted to save his family. "Brave hunter," one spirit spoke, its voice like rustling leaves. "You have disturbed our sacred land and taken what is not yours. What will you offer to restore balance?" Kofi's mind raced. He thought of all the animals he had hunted, the times he had ignored the elders' warnings. He took a deep breath and spoke from his heart. "I will protect the forest. I will never hunt in this sacred place again. I will teach others to respect nature." The spirits listened, their faces shifting in the shadows. Kofi's heart pounded in his chest as he waited for their response. "Your words hold power, but we need more," another spirit warned. "Your sacrifice must be great. A true offering from your heart." Kofi's mind raced as he realized he had to give up something precious. But what could he sacrifice that would be enough? Kofi thought of his family, of Nia and his parents. They meant everything to him. The spirit's words echoed in his mind. "A true offering," he whispered, realization dawning. He would have to give up his hunting for good. Kofi looked at the spirits, his heart heavy. "I will stop hunting for the rest of my life. I will protect the forest and all its creatures," he declared. The spirits considered his words, their forms flickering like shadows. Kofi's stomach twisted with fear and uncertainty. Had he made the right choice? "Very well," the spirits finally said. "You have shown courage and respect. Your debt is acknowledged, but know that the forest will still test you. If you fail, your family will suffer." Kofi nodded, understanding the weight of his promise. He felt a mix of relief and dread, knowing he had to keep his word. As Kofi left the spirit's realm, he felt lighter, but the promise weighed heavily on his heart. He returned to the village with a newfound sense of purpose. He shared his experience with the villagers, warning them about the sacredness of the forest. They listened, some skeptical, but Kofi was determined to lead by example. From that day on, he taught the children about the forest's beauty, the importance of protecting it, and respecting the animals. Kofi no longer hunted but instead became a guardian of nature. He felt fulfilled watching the children learn and grow, but he often wondered if the spirits would truly leave his family in peace. Months passed, and Kofi settled into his new role. But one evening, Nia came running to him, her face pale and scared. "Kofi! There's something in the forest," she cried, her breath quickening. Kofi felt a pang of fear shoot through him. He had worked hard to keep his family safe, but the spirit's warning echoed in his mind. "Calm down, Nia. What did you see?" Kofi asked, kneeling to look into her frightened eyes. "I saw shadows moving, like spirits. They were whispering your name." Nia trembled as she spoke, her voice shaking. Kofi's heart raced. Had he truly paid off his debt, or had the spirits returned to collect? He stood up, determination flaring inside him. "I will go and see," he said, gripping his sister's shoulder for reassurance. "Stay here and keep the door locked." Kofi stepped into the night, the moonlight casting eerie shadows around him. The forest felt different now, the air was thick with tension. He listened carefully, trying to catch any sounds in the dark. As he walked deeper into the trees, the whispers grew louder. They were haunting and sorrowful, echoing through the leaves. Kofi felt a chill creep up his spine. Were the spirits angry again? He had to find out what they wanted before it was too late. Kofi ventured further into the forest, and the air grew colder with each step. He could hear the rustling of leaves and the distant calls of animals, but there was something more ominous lacking. He reached the same clearing where he had met the spirits before. It was quiet now, almost too quiet. Kofi felt a knot in his stomach. Suddenly, the shadows around him began to twist and swirl. The spirits emerged, their faces serious and unyielding. "You have failed us, Hunter," one spirit proclaimed, its voice echoing like thunder. "The balance you promised to protect has been disturbed." Kofi's heart sank. "But I have not hunted. I keep my promise," he pleaded, desperation creeping into his voice. "The creatures of the forest are suffering," the spirit continued, its gaze piercing through Kofi. "Without the hunter's respect for the balance of life, chaos reigns. Your sacrifice was not enough." Kofi felt a wave of guilt wash over him. He had thought his change of heart would be enough, but he realized now that his actions had consequences he had not foreseen. Kofi stood before the spirits, his mind racing. "What must I do to restore balance?" he asked, feeling small in their presence. The spirits whispered among themselves, their forms shifting like the shadows around them. "You must confront the darkness you have ignored," one spirit finally said. "You will face the chaos and restore the peace of the forest. But know this, the cost will be great." "What do you mean?" Kofi felt a shiver run down his spine. "You must go to the heart of the forbidden forest and face the beast that disrupts the balance. Only then will you earn the trust of the spirits and restore peace to your family and village." Kofi's heart raced at the thought of facing another beast, especially one that threatened the harmony of the forest. "I will do it," he declared, determination filling him once again. "I will face this darkness and protect my family." The spirits nodded, their expressions softening slightly. "Then prepare yourself, brave hunter. The time for action is upon you." With a final flicker, the spirits disappeared, leaving Kofi standing alone in the clearing, a sense of urgency flooding his heart. Kofi knew he had to prepare for the journey ahead. As he walked back to the village, he thought about everything he had learned over the past few months. He realized that being a hunter was not just about capturing animals, it was about understanding the balance of life. The weight of responsibility pressed on him as he approached his home. When he arrived, he found Nia waiting for him, worry etched on her face. "Kofi, what did the spirits say?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "They told me I must confront a beast in the forbidden forest," he replied, trying to reassure her. "I need to restore balance." Nia's eyes widened with fear, but Kofi held her hands firmly. I promise I will return. I need you to be strong for me, Nia." With those words, Kofi gathered supplies for his journey, a strong rope, a sharp knife, and a small pouch of herbs Mama Asha had given him. He also packed some food and water, knowing he would need his strength. As he prepared, the weight of the task ahead settled heavily on his shoulders. He knew this was not just a physical journey but a quest of the heart and spirit. The next morning, Kofi set out before dawn, the sun just beginning to rise over Kamar. The sky was painted with shades of orange and pink, but Kofi felt a chill in the air. As he stepped into the forbidden forest, the darkness seemed to cling to him. The trees towered overhead, their branches intertwining like hands grasping at the sky. With each step, he could feel the forest's energy shifting around him. Kofi focused on the path ahead, remembering the spirit's warning. The heart of the forest was deep and filled with uncertainty. As he walked, he heard the sounds of creatures stirring in the underbrush, their calls echoing through the trees. Kofi took a deep breath and pressed forward. The deeper he went, the more he felt the presence of the beast the spirits had spoken of. He could sense it watching him, lurking in the shadows. Kofi gripped his knife tightly, knowing he would have to confront it soon. The tension in the air was thick, and Kofi's heart raced with anticipation and fear. He was determined to face whatever was out there and protect his family. As Kofi journeyed deeper into the forest, the atmosphere grew heavy, filled with an unshakable tension. The path twisted and turned, and the shadows seemed to come alive. Kofi could feel the weight of the spirit's expectations on him, pushing him forward despite the fear gnawing at his insides. Suddenly, he heard a rustling noise behind a thick bush. He stopped, heart pounding in his chest. "Kofi," a voice whispered, echoing around him. It was soft yet haunting. He turned slowly, gripping his knife tighter, scanning the area. But all he could see were trees and shadows. "Who's there?" he called out, trying to sound brave. The rustling continued, and Kofi felt the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. Just then, the dark figure lunged from the bushes. Kofi's breath caught in his throat. It was a massive beast, unlike anything he had ever seen before. Its fur was matted, and its eyes glowed like fiery coals. It let out a growl that reverberated through the clearing, shaking Kofi to his core. This was the creature that had caused chaos in the forest, and Kofi knew he had to confront it. Kofi took a step back, trying to steady his breathing as the beast advanced. It moved with a grace that belied its size, muscles rippling beneath its thick coat. Kofi remembered the spirit's words. He needed to face this beast, not just as a hunter but as a protector of the forest. He couldn't let fear consume him. Summoning all his courage, Kofi shouted, "I am here to restore balance. You cannot continue to harm the forest." The beast stopped, its fiery eyes locking onto Kofi's. For a moment, they stood there, staring at each other, both waiting for the other to make a move. Then, in a flash, the beast charged. Kofi barely had time to react. He dodged to the side, adrenaline surging through him. As the beast turned to face him again, Kofi felt a rush of determination. He knew he couldn't just fight it, he had to understand it. "I don't want to harm you," Kofi called out, hoping the creature could hear him through the chaos. "I want to help." The beast paused, its growl fading slightly. Kofi saw a flicker of confusion in its eyes. Perhaps it could sense the truth in Kofi's voice. Kofi took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart. "Listen to me," he pleaded, stepping closer. "I understand that you are angry, but hurting the forest will only lead to more pain for us all." The beast's eyes softened slightly, and it stopped growling. Kofi could feel a connection forming, a bond that transcended fear. "Show me what troubles you," Kofi said gently. "Let me help you." The beast hesitated, then slowly lowered its head, as if it were listening. Kofi could sense the weight of the creature's sorrow, a sadness that filled the forest with despair. He took another step forward, carefully reaching out his hand. "I am here for you," he whispered. To his amazement, the beast slowly approached, its powerful form moving cautiously. Kofi could feel the heat radiating from its body. He looked into its eyes, searching for a glimmer of understanding. "Together, we can find a way to restore the balance. You don't have to do this alone," he urged. As Kofi stood face to face with the beast, he began to realize that this encounter was not just about defeating a monster, it was about forging a connection. The forest had been suffering because the beast had lost its way, and Kofi understood that true strength lay in compassion, not violence. "I can help you find peace," Kofi said softly, lowering his knife. "The spirits have sent me to protect this land, and you, too, are part of it." The beast regarded him with a mix of curiosity and wariness. Kofi could feel the tension in the air shifting, the darkness receding as they communicated without words. Slowly, the beast stepped back, allowing Kofi to come closer. He could see the pain in its eyes, the burden it carried. "You are not alone in this fight," Kofi assured it. "Together, we can heal the forest." The creature's breathing steadied, and Kofi felt a surge of hope. He realized that this was not just a battle, it was a chance to bring about change. With newfound resolve, Kofi stepped back, giving the beast space to breathe. "Let's work together to mend what has been broken," he said, his voice steady. "We can find a way to bring harmony back to the forest." The beast nodded slowly, its expression shifting from anger to understanding. Kofi turned to the trees around them, their leaves whispering in the wind. "We must protect each other," he called out to the spirits of the forest. "Together, we can restore balance and ensure the safety of our home." As he spoke, Kofi felt the forest respond. The air grew lighter, the shadows retreating as if acknowledging his words. The beast let out a low rumble, a sound that resonates deep within Kofi. It was a promise, a vow to protect and cherish the forest. Kofi felt a wave of energy wash over him as the spirits gathered around, their presence filling the clearing. They were here, guiding him and the beast toward a new beginning. The darkness that had loomed over the forest began to lift, revealing a path toward healing. As dawn broke over the horizon, Kofi and the beast stood together in the clearing, united in their purpose. The once chaotic forest began to regain its life, the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves echoing around them. The spirits smiled upon them, their light illuminating the path ahead. Kofi took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face. He knew it was time to return to his village. "Come with me," he urged the beast. "Let them see you. Let them understand that we are all connected." The creature hesitated, but Kofi could see the curiosity in its eyes. Together, they made their way back through the forest, Kofi leading the way with a sense of purpose. As they approached the edge of Kamar, villagers began to gather, their expressions a mix of awe and fear. Kofi raised his hand, signaling for calm. "Everyone, this is not a monster. This is a guardian of the forest," he declared, his voice carrying across the crowd. The villagers murmured amongst themselves, their eyes wide with disbelief. "I know you are afraid," Kofi continued, "but we must learn to live in harmony with all creatures. This beast has suffered, just as we have, and together we can restore balance." The villagers watched as Kofi approached the beast, extending his hand in friendship. The creature stepped forward, its eyes softening as it recognized the kindness in Kofi's heart. With a deep breath, Kofi turned to face the crowd. "Let us welcome this guardian and work together to heal our home. We can no longer see each other as enemies but as allies." Some villagers stepped back, hesitant to accept this new reality. But others moved forward, drawn by Kofi's bravery. Slowly, they began to approach the beast, curiosity overcoming their fear. "We must build a new understanding," Kofi said, his voice firm yet gentle. "We are part of this land, and we must protect it together." As the villagers reached out to the beast, the air shimmered with a sense of hope. The darkness that had plagued the forest began to fade, replaced by a spirit of unity. Kofi felt a surge of gratitude for the spirits who had guided him, for the lessons he had learned. He realized that true strength lay not in conquering but in compassion, understanding, and connection. As days turned into weeks, Kofi and the villagers worked alongside the guardian beast. They planted trees, nurtured the land, and shared stories that connected them to their history. The forest thrived, and harmony returned to Kamar. Kofi watched as Nia laughed with the children, their joy echoing through the trees. He knew that they had created a new legacy, a legacy of respect for the forest and all its creatures. The spirits were pleased, their presence felt in every rustling leaf and whispering breeze. One evening, as Kofi stood at the edge of the forest, he felt a sense of peace envelop him. He had faced darkness and emerged stronger, not just for himself but for his family, his village, and the forest they all called home. "Thank you," Kofi whispered to the spirits, knowing they had been with him every step of the way. "I will continue to protect this land and teach others to do the same." He looked at the stars twinkling above, feeling their warmth and guidance. The journey was far from over, but Kofi knew he was ready for whatever lay ahead. Years later, Kofi became known as the guardian of the forest, a title he wore with pride. He taught the next generation about the importance of balance, respect, and understanding. Nia often joined him, sharing stories of their adventures and reminding everyone that the spirits were always watching over them. One day, as they sat around a fire, Kofi shared the tale of his journey to confront the beast. The children listened intently, their eyes wide with wonder. "Remember," he said, "every creature has a role in this world. It is our duty to protect them and live in harmony." The fire crackled, and the stars twinkled above them, a reminder of the connection they all shared. Kofi smiled, knowing that the legacy he had built would continue long after he was gone. The forest thrived, and the spirits danced among the trees, their presence a constant source of strength and guidance. As the night deepened, Kofi felt a sense of fulfillment wash over him. He had faced darkness, forged bonds, and restored balance. The forest, once filled with chaos, now echoed with laughter and life, a testament to the power of compassion and understanding. On a quiet evening, Kofi found himself walking through the forest, reflecting on his journey. The path felt familiar beneath his feet, each step reminding him of the trials he had faced. He reached the clearing where he had once confronted the beast, now filled with vibrant flowers and singing birds. "Every journey teaches us something," Kofi whispered, feeling the spirit of the forest envelop him. "We must always listen, always learn." In that moment, he understood that life was a series of lessons, each experience shaping them into who they were meant to be. As he turned to leave, Kofi felt a presence behind him. The guardian beast emerged from the shadows, its eyes shining with wisdom. Kofi smiled, knowing that they had formed an unbreakable bond. "Thank you for standing by me," he said, reaching out to touch the creature's fur. The beast nuzzled him gently, a gesture of mutual respect and friendship. Together, they walked back through the forest, side by side. Kofi knew that as long as they stood together, the spirit of the forest would thrive. And so, with each step, they moved forward, united in their purpose to protect the land they loved. As Kofi aged, he shared his stories and wisdom with the villagers, ensuring that the lessons of the past would be carried forward. He knew that the balance of life was fragile, and it was their responsibility to safeguard it. One day, he gathered the children beneath the great baobab tree, a symbol of strength and unity in Kamar. "Remember, little ones," he said, his voice strong yet gentle. "You are the future guardians of this land. Protect it, cherish it, and always strive for balance." The children nodded, their eyes shining with determination. Kofi felt a sense of peace wash over him, knowing that his legacy would live on through them. He smiled, looking at the vibrant forest around them, a reminder of all they had achieved together. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over Kamar, Kofi whispered a silent prayer of gratitude to the spirits. The forest was alive, its beauty a testament to their shared journey. And though Kofi knew his time was drawing near, he felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The spirit of the forest would continue to thrive, and Kofi's heart swelled with pride for the legacy they had built together.